Hey, it's Hawken with TOPDON, and today we're going to do a walkthrough video on the new Phoenix Lite 3. The Phoenix Lite 3 has brought a couple of additions as far as features go versus our previous Phoenix Lite 2. Now, you may notice as it sits behind me here that it looks very similar to the Phoenix Lite 2, and in fact, the hardware is the same form factor. So the size and the shape will be the same as the Phoenix Lite 2. What we do see as far as changes here are some additional features that you will find very beneficial. To start off with, the Phoenix Lite 3 has the ability to add ADAS software. Now that is a one-time activation fee that you pay to add that to the tool. The software will allow you to do dynamic and static calibrations. Static calibrations will require purchase of individual targets and a calibration frame, but the software portion will be activated on the tool when you purchase that upgrade. The Phoenix Lite 3 also offers module topology as a standard feature. This is a difference between the Lite 2 and the Lite 3 as well. Now, we have also made one major change to the hardware, which lies within the communication interface. The communication interface now supports CAN-FD. So CAN-FD is a newer, faster data transmission protocol that you will find on many newer vehicles starting around roughly 2018 and newer. Some vehicle manufacturers still have not adopted this, but many have. That means this communication interface will better equip you to work on newer vehicles. One other benefit you will see with the communication interface is inside this little door, we have a USB connection. Why is this helpful? Number one, when we connect the dongle specifically to the body or the tablet itself and hardwire it, we get faster data transmission. We also gain the ability to use the TOPDON T-Ninja box for specific functions like module cloning and key work. So that is obviously a nice benefit to have added on to the Phoenix Lite 3, which we did not have access to previously. As far as the rest of the tablet goes, it's very similar to the Lite 2. We do have the big large kickstand here on the back, which you can see, which allows us to hang this over the steering wheel so that you'll be able to comfortably and easily use the tool. We also have the USB port under the little protective door here, just like we do on the Lite 2. We have a USB-C and a USB-A so that you can connect various accessories, including the TOPDON Thermal Imager, which is USB-C designed for Android, the TOPDON BT Mobile Pro S battery tester, and the TOPDON oscilloscope. So that's a great benefit and a lot of features packed into a compact, convenient, and lightweight, but highly ruggedized tool. So I think you'll find the Lite 3 meets a lot of your needs, whether you're a DIY or a professional working on vehicles. So we're going to go ahead and launch into the walkthrough of the software now. And so let's go ahead and get started. And now we're going to walk through the Phoenix Lite 3 and show you all of the various menus and get you acquainted with the tool. So the first thing we're going to do is show you the settings menu. And we do have two ways to access this. We can go to the user info button here, or the gear in the top right corner. We're going to go ahead and tap that. We'll start all the way up at the top. Up at the top we have our serial number for our dongle, which is also written on the dongle itself. That serial number is the serial number you will use to register the tool for AutoAuth. Here we have fix MDCI firmware. If we have any issues connecting the dongle to the vehicle, establishing a connection, or we have any issues getting the dongle to talk to the tool, we can try the Fix MDCI firmware selection. We then have Data Stream Sample, where we can review any data stream information that we have saved from a vehicle. Next, we have Profile. Profile allows us to set a nickname, our gender, if we care to, and our email as well. This is the email that people will see on the reports that we send. Wi-Fi allows us to connect to a Wi-Fi network in order to download updates for the tool, access online functions, and of course send information like reports. Diagnostic Software Clear allows us to remove unneeded software and or if we need to remove the software for reinstallation to try and troubleshoot, we can also do that through this menu. As we scroll down further, we see business information. Here, we can enter in all of the information about our shop if we have a shop. We can upload a logo if we want to, as well as adding an email and a telephone number. And these will appear on the reports that you generate from the tool. Then we have customer management. If we want to input individual customers in this section, we can do that. We're not going to do that right now. Photo album lets us access any of the photos that we take with the tool, whether that is a screenshot or if that is a picture with the camera on the tool. Screen recorder is where we find videos that we have recorded with the scan tool's screen itself. And that is a function that we'll show you how to access in just a moment. Upload log allows you to send any log data if you have an error, if a function does not work correctly, or a function is missing, you can upload the logs through this section. We're not going to go through that right now. You can also access the feedback logs from the feedback button on the main screen. We will show you that. Settings allows us to go a little bit farther into the tool to modify other settings. So in the About section here, we can check for updates to see if this has any updates, and we can also hit our system upgrade to check and see if we have any updates for the system itself. Looks like we're on the latest version. So those are two places to check for updates. Units allows us to change from metric to English. Time system allows us to change from a 12-hour format to a 24. We can also tell the tool to automatically update by toggling the radio button here. Language lets us change our language to any of the supported languages on the tool. Time zone lets us select where we are located so that the reports print with the proper date and time information. Renewals is if we need to update or renew our subscription and we have purchased a renewal card from our dealer. Clear cache is a tool that we can use if the tool starts to run slower or you have any anomalous behavior, you can clear the cache. Just be aware that when you clear the cache, you may also delete some of your reports and other saved information. So make sure that you have used a USB drive to back up that information before you do that. USB connection mode is designed for switching the purpose of the USB port on the tool. So if we are using a USB accessory like the thermal camera, we may need to change the USB connection mode. It should automatically switch, but if it does not, this is where you find that setting. Restore factory settings is used in extreme cases where the tool maybe has slowed down extremely, is no longer functioning correctly, and you're having some major issues. Typically, this is not something we want to press unless we are being directed to do so by the support staff. But you need to know where that is located. Now that we've gone through the settings menu, let's kind of take a tour for the rest of the options on the main screen. Next, we have the feedback section. The feedback section is if we have any problems with the specific software on a vehicle, missing information, incorrect information such as a mislabeled data PID, a fault code that doesn't properly decode, a data stream that does not display correctly, anything of that nature, we can go into the feedback section and we can attach logs from the tool. Now, we have not used this tool on any cars yet, so we don't have any options to do feedback yet, but we can submit a feedback log from here and attach screenshots, which will in turn allow the engineers to resolve any issues and or add or update features to the tool. History is where we can find information about what vehicles we have used this tool on. It will save some of our information, reports, screenshots, and other diagnostic data that we have saved on the vehicle. Library takes us to a number of quick links that we may find useful. So you can see there are a lot of shortcuts here for service information resources, our web browser, YouTube, and Facebook, which a lot of folks do use for collaboration and information. Support is what you tap after you are talking to the support staff over the internet and you need them to remote into your tool. Now, you can also use this if you are helping another person with one of our tools, and you can connect to their tool remotely using the support option. Next, we have the update menu. The update menu is where we can go to update our software on the tool. Here, we can see the software that we have upgraded already. And here, we can see any updates that we have not downloaded yet. Now, we can hit the refresh button to double check and make sure there's no other updates. And in all likelihood, there will not be, since we just checked this morning. Well, we'll go back. And sure enough, no other updates. Now, one other thing you do want to keep in mind here, specifically, is that we do have the option to change which version we are downloading. So in many cases, if there is an older software available, we can use our drop-down to select that older version. This is useful if we run across any issues with the software, and we'll show you how to delete the existing software and roll it back a version should you need to do so. But we'll get to that later. Next, we have our modules section, and these sections will allow us to use some of the other accessories with our tools. So we have the thermal camera, which is USB-C, we have the oscilloscope, which is USB, and we have our battery tester, the BT Mobile Pro S, which can be used via Bluetooth. So if you want to use any of the related apps for those, the oscilloscope and the thermal camera apps will typically boot by themselves when you plug into the USB port on the tool. The battery tester app will boot up only when you tap on this option. Now, you do also have the ability to add ADAS to this tool. So we can see here, if we had activated ADAS software on this vehicle, we could go into the ADAS calibration section and do an ADAS calibration as well. Now, we have not activated ADAS on this particular tool, so we will not demonstrate that today. Now, the ADAS activation is a one-time software subscription fee. You do have to have an active regular software subscription in order to receive updates on both the diagnostic software as well as the ADAS software going forward after you have activated your ADAS software. We also have our services menu, which is a quick shortcut to performing a large variety of functions related to basic services on the vehicle. So if we need to reset an oil reminder, we need to reset a battery management system, perhaps we put a new battery in the vehicle, this is just a shortcut we can use to get to that information. Now, if you purchase the T-Ninja box, you can also go in here to access the two immobilizer softwares, one of which we can use for module cloning. So now that we've gone through all of these main menu options here, we're going to show you the two differences between scan and auto scan. Scan is what allows us to manually build the vehicle that we are working on. Now you can see we have a lot of different vehicle brands we can work with. After we perform a software update on the vehicle or on the tool, we may want to hit this little refresh arrow, as it will double check to make sure that all of the newest software has been loaded to this screen. After we do that refresh button, and sometimes it can take a moment to do its refresh, then it should have all of the latest updates showing on the screen. Now we're also going to show you, if you happen to run into an issue with a software and you would like to roll it back one version, we can go in, long press on the software, it'll ask you if you want to delete it, yes, go back, now go to your update center, refresh, and we'll give it a moment, and here we have the Chrysler software. Now, in this case, we only see we have one version to roll back to, but in many cases, you will find that you have more than one version to roll back to, which will allow you to have more than one option should you need to troubleshoot a problem with the software. We'll go ahead and re-update this. Even though we're not going to work on a Chrysler at this very moment, we can go back like this, and it will continue doing the updates in the background. So as long as we're not doing Chrysler, which we're not, that will not be a problem. Lastly, we have AutoScan. AutoScan is typically where we are going to go for scanning vehicles. We're going to go ahead and hit AutoScan. We'll make sure our key is on the vehicle. And we've got a 2015 Volkswagen Jetta. So now from the screen we see the VIN displayed, we see the year, the make, and the model. Now we're going to go into the scan button. Once we get into the main menu here, we can see that we have module topology. And as you may have noticed, module topology is one of the newest features available, specifically on the Lite 3 as a standard feature. So it's nice to have this at your disposal as a standard feature on the Lite 3. And now we'll go through kind of some of the other menu options that you will see. Now, it's important to remember that these menu options may vary depending on the specific brand of vehicle, model of vehicle, and year of vehicle that you are working on. Now, when we are dealing with Volkswagen, we will often see a lot of options across this top banner. And I would encourage you to explore this. But we do have a lot of shortcuts. So if we did have ADAS activated on this tool, we could go into the ADAS menu through here. We have some online functions, which you may or may not be familiar with on Volkswagen on our tools. But we do have online coding on the Phoenix Lite 3. On some of our higher level tools, there are additional functions in the online functions section. We can also tap on guided functions. And in many cases, this will walk you through performing basic service functions on the vehicle. We have to choose our engine. And we have to download some additional software in order to perform this, which usually doesn't take super long. Okay, so it's installed the software. And now you can see we have a menu with all the different control units on the vehicle. If we tap on a vehicle, we will have access to guided functions. And this is where the tool will walk us through doing various relearns and basic settings, just like the Volkswagen factory scan tool. We're actually going to go back here. We did not want to do that. I accidentally tapped it. But we do have access to these guided functions, so it is really nice to have that menu. So we're going to go back out here to our main topology menu, and we'll show you some of the other stuff up on the banner. So special functions is where you will find other various special functions, things that may be common procedures that you need to perform on a vehicle. So keep that in mind. That's just another shortcut you can get to that. Full systems list lets us see all possible equipment that could be on this vehicle, which is, again, not being filtered based on the actual VIN or the information acquired as the tool is scanning the vehicle. That's a comprehensive list of all possibilities. System list, on the other hand, is going to get filtered by the vehicle's specific equipment based on the VIN. So we can see here, this is more of a traditional display of information. Some people prefer this over the topology menu. I prefer the topology menu, but of course you do have freedom to choose. So now let's talk about scanning. So we have a couple of different options down on the bottom. We have a choose to scan, which basically we can select which modules we want to scan. We have a gateway scan, which I typically do not use. You can see this is basically just a check to see what modules are in fact equipped on the vehicle. System scan is just a various pinging of the modules to see if they are talking. It is not, in fact, pulling codes from the vehicle. It is only checking to make sure that the modules are talking and that the scan tool can actually communicate with them. So we'll hit pause because we're not actually going to go through that. And we can swipe from the side of the screen back to clear the results. As a shortcut, anytime you need to go back, just swipe from the side of the screen towards the middle, and you can do that on either the left or the right of the screen. Okay? So the menu that you're going to typically use is Smart Scan. Smart Scan is going to go through and physically check all modules for fault codes. Now, one of the things we want to be aware of when we're doing this is modules that turn green should not have any fault codes in them. Modules that turn red do have fault codes in them, and the scan tool has found those. If the module turns gray, it either means that it is not equipped or that it is not communicating. If it is not communicating, you will typically find faults in other modules on the same network that will state they cannot talk to that given module. Now, there is no problem with communication on this particular vehicle, so we do not need to be concerned about that right now, but it is an important piece of information you should be aware of. So after we finish our scan, we'll show you what it's like to go inside a module and look at the codes as well as look at the live data. Now we're also going to show you what a report looks like on the vehicle so that you can get a feel for how that all looks on the screen after we're done scanning. Okay, so now we have finished scanning this vehicle and we can hit our report. Or if we want to clear the trouble codes right from the screen, we can do that here. We're going to hit report. Now here we have some information. We can either leave the report in kilometers, and that is a function of the default settings we had in our settings menu. We can enter in some notes if we want to and other additional vehicle details. We can also choose what kind of scan this is. Is this a pre-scan? Is this a diagnostic scan partway through our work? Or is this a post-scan because we're either done doing the diagnosis and we fixed the car, or we have completed maybe an ADAS calibration? We can skip this menu as well if we want. We're going to hit OK. Now you see all of our information is loaded based on what we put in the settings menu, and because we did not put any information in for a shop name, a telephone, or otherwise, we don't have anything in here. Now if we want to add some more details like technician name, customer name, and repair order number, we can also enter those right here as well. Now, Sync allows us to actually add a pre and a post scan together in one report. We can also add pictures by taking pictures with the camera on the tool itself, or we can use screenshots if we want, and we'll show you how to do screenshots in just a moment. We're going to hit OK and move to our report. Now our report comes up. You can see all the information we did or did not enter in the settings menu is present. You can see pretty much everything's blank because we didn't really put anything in. We can see our QR code, which allows us to pull this report right off of our tool very quickly with any phone or tablet that can recognize QR codes. As we scroll down, we can see our full system list and whether or not it has a fault. And if we keep scrolling, we can see the list of specific faults. Then we can either open the report or we can share it. If we share it, it's going to allow us to email it, and generally we're going to want to stick with a PDF report. And from here, we can email it to ourselves, to a customer, or anybody else we choose. So now we're going to swipe from the screen to go back. And now we're going to show you what it looks like to go inside the module and look at the codes. So if we tap on the module, we can see the codes right from here. We can also enter into the module, and then we'll have access to additional menus. Here we get the version information of the module. Now we can look at our fault codes specifically in this menu, and we have access to freeze frame data if it has been saved by the tool and the module. So you can see the date and some other information. Sometimes you get a lot of useful information from freeze frame data, sometimes you do not. And this is largely a function of the vehicle manufacturer and the module that is storing the codes. So now we're going to clear these codes. Okay, so we have cleared the codes. Now we can go back. And now you can see here's the other menus you get on this Volkswagen specifically. Remember, which menus you get on a vehicle may vary depending on the brand of the vehicle and the year and the model. So just keep that in mind as you're working on various vehicles. So we showed you how to clear the codes. We're also going to show you what live data looks like. So we're going to go into the ECM just so you can see a couple of things here. There's our version information on the module. And now we're going to look at read data stream. We're going to look at read by list. And now we have a master list of data PIDs in the manufacturer's style of data. We're going to type in throttle, and we're going to look at throttle valve angle and sensors. I'm going to hit OK. And now we can see our percentages, and we're going to move the throttle so you can see. And you can see those all change. Now, if you want faster response of the data PIDs, all you have to do is take your dongle, open the port up back here, and plug your USB directly into the tool. Once you do that, the speed at which the data will graph and refresh will be increased. Now, if we want to look at the graph, we can do this, hit the graphing button, and you can see it's not lightning fast because we are not connected via a hard line. We are using Bluetooth. And this is always a limitation of Bluetooth we want to be aware of. Bluetooth is not lightning fast. However, we still can get valid data via the wireless connection. So we're going to go back here. And now if we want to change any other data PIDs we want to look at, we can do that. We can also select all or unselect. And when we're doing graphing, we have the ability to do a couple of different things. We'll just select a bunch of different stuff here. If we hit graph, we can actually graph quite a few data PIDs together. If we want to combine them, we can do up to 4 together at once. So if we wanted to select these 4, we can have 4 graphs all integrated into one. Now again, if you're going to do graphing, I would always recommend you connect your USB cable to your dongle, as it greatly increases the speed at which the graphs will respond and the resolution of the data you're looking at. Now, maybe you're looking at this and you want to be able to take a screenshot. If we swipe from the top of the screen down, we have some different icons available. We can shortcut to our Wi-Fi by long pressing on that icon. We can shortcut to our Bluetooth menu by long pressing on that icon. We can turn on screen record by tapping the little camera there, or video recorder, and then if we tap down here, we can start a screen recording. If we don't want to do screen recording and instead maybe we want to do a screenshot, we can hit that button. Now we have a little camera that we can drag around to leave it in a place that's convenient. And anytime we want to take a screenshot of what we're seeing on the screen, we just tap that little icon. We'll turn that off. Now if you want to open up the actual camera on the back side of the tool, we can easily do that. And if we need to rotate the display for any reason, we can do that there as well. We also have settings for our brightness on our screen. Remember that brightness will affect your battery life pretty dynamically. So the brighter the screen, the more the battery will be depleted faster. If you want to turn the sound up and down, you can certainly do that here, all the way to mute, all the way to max. Usually I leave it down pretty low. And then we can swipe away once we're done. So, we have now gone through and shown you a number of different pieces of information here. The basic walkthrough on the tool, where we can find various pieces of information, how we get to all of the things that we're going to do on a regular basis, like code scanning, navigating live data, graphing live data, things of that nature. So, we're not going to go through anything else really specifically here, but we want you to be aware that your tool has a great number of different features and functions at your disposal. And of course, if you need any help finding things on the tool, or you're struggling to complete a function, feel free to give us a call and we're happy to help you with the software side. We do not offer vehicle support, but we are happy to try and assist you using the software itself if you are having trouble navigating. If you have other questions about navigating your software, make sure you check out the YouTube channel, as we do often make new videos on a lot of different situations with various vehicles, which will help you get more comfortable and confident with your tool. So, we're all wrapped up here for our walkthrough. If you do want to go back to the end or the main screen, but not exit out of your diagnosis, you can hit the little home button. When we go back into the auto scan, if we want to exit out of the diagnosis instead all the way, we can hit the little door. So now we're all done. We've gone all the way back. We're going to hit the back like this, from swiping from the outside in. And now we're back to our main screen. So that completes our walkthrough for the tool. Hey, it's Hawken with TOPDON, and we just wanted to thank you for watching our video on the new Phoenix Lite 3 today. We took you through some of the features and gave you a general overview of the tool, walked you through all of the different menus, and showed you the basics of how you can make use of your tool. Now, if there are any questions that you feel were unanswered, or you just need some support with your tool, feel free to jump on our website, topdon.com, or topdon.us if you are in the United States or Canada. We're always glad to help you with any questions that you may have on our tools. We appreciate you taking the time to watch our videos, and of course, we would greatly appreciate it if you would like, share, subscribe, and give us ideas for other videos you'd like to see from us in the future. Thanks again for watching.